Straight ahead on 12 News, an armed robbery investigation in Crystal. Then, how local nonprofits hope to honor Dr. Martin Luther King. But first,
every time you put another tax on a business, it lowers the business climate, lowers the business attitude.
Local companies rally legislators to repeal business-to-business taxes. 12 News starts right now. It ruffled a lot of feathers in the business community when the legislature passed business-to-business taxes in the last session. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Alexandra Renslow. The new taxes generate income for the state and include these three business-to-business taxes: labor and service charges for equipment repair, new taxes on storage and warehousing services, and on the purchase of telecommunications equipment. Business leaders want the taxes repealed when the session starts next month.
These machines back here cost $240,000 and $260,000 each.
Steve Wise has big money tied into his Brooklyn Center manufacturing business.
My number one largest customer is Bobcat. These are parts we make for them.
Each year, this small business with 112 employees makes thousands of different parts for companies such as Bobcat, Toro, and Polaris. But when any of these high-tech machines needs to be fixed, Steve's company now must pay a new state tax on the labor to repair it.
That means about $12,000 to my business. It doesn't sound like much, but again, here we go, another creep on my business, another extraction from my bottom line. I got to make a lot of screw machine parts to make up $12,000.
Local business leaders gathered at this Brooklyn Center shop to encourage local lawmakers to repeal the new business-to-business taxes as soon as the session starts, or face the possibility that companies will leave the state.
When you start looking at businesses not as cherished citizens, but as pocketbooks to be raided, what it does, it just declines the whole business climate in the state.
It became an up or down vote, with many of us having concerns about it.
DFL Representative Lyndon Carlson of Crystal says if the state's projected budget surplus of $825 million holds, he believes the legislature will be in a good position to repeal the taxes.
Governor Mark Dayton would like to see it repealed. I know that there's a lot of interest in repealing it on the House side, but it was a Senate position, and I haven't had a dialogue personally with many of the senators to know what their position might be.
I've got 5 buildings here in the corner. Each building has its own little flavor. I've got 32 screw machines in the other building.
Steve Wise just hopes lawmakers take it up as their first order of business, so it no longer cuts into his business.
If it's truly a priority, make it a priority.
I spoke with local Senators Ann Rest and John Hoffman today, and both said they're willing to re-examine the issue of business-to-business taxes, but they'll take a wait-and-see approach until the latest budget forecast comes out in early March.
Police are looking for 2 men who held up a Crystal grocery store. The robbery happened at the Hometown Market off 36th Avenue around 11:30 this morning. Police say the 2 men walked up to a clerk and demanded money. One of them had a gun. The suspects got away with an undisclosed amount of cash and other items. The clerk was not hurt. And if you have any information, you are asked to call Crystal Police. And police in Rogers made quite the discovery, and good thing for the man who stopped by a restaurant. A Rogers police officer found a wallet in the parking lot next to Angino's Pizza. Inside the wallet, more than $1,500 in cash. An ID and a business card inside the wallet helped police track down the rightful owner. 2 years ago in Rogers, a Good Samaritan found a zipper pouch that contained $6,000 cash. In that case, police never found the owner. Under state law, if the money is not claimed within 90 days, it goes to the person who found it.
A local soccer team is showing support for one of their teammates whose mother is fighting cancer. This is the Brooklyn Park Northwest Kickers 13 and under soccer team. Today, they're wearing pink to show support for 13-year-old Elizabeth Matson and her family. Connie Matson, Elizabeth's mom, was diagnosed with breast cancer in December. Until today, she hasn't been able to watch Elizabeth play soccer because she was undergoing medical treatment.
I think it's very thoughtful for them to wear pink. I was very surprised when I first learned about it. I think it's a great opportunity for them to show their support and their awareness, and it touches me deeply.
Deputy Fire Chief Todd Seitz is the coach of the team, and he says he's proud the girls are showing awareness for breast cancer. The makeup of the Northwest Metro is changing rapidly.
And here's some proof. In 2000, the white population in Brooklyn Park outnumbered non-whites 70 to 30%. 10 years later, it's an even split. So how does race impact the community where you live?
And that is the question, is the subject, rather, of a forum on Saturday at the Brooklyn Park Community Activity Center. And joining us now is Brian Siverson-Hall. He's the Community Engagement Director for the Osseo School District. First off, thanks so much for joining us, Brian. A lot of effort, obviously, has gone into this forum. What do you hope, ultimately, it will accomplish?
Sure. Our main hope is that we engage in constructive dialogue around race with our community members, which is why we have 5 different agencies, faith agencies, school districts, partnering with us to do this event, and that we create a safe forum for people to come and talk about how they can actively engage in discussions about race and expand on the wonderful diversity that we have in our community.
We showed the numbers a moment ago, just how much Brooklyn Park has changed over the last decade. Now, how can local cities and schools better tap into this rich diversity?
Yeah, you know, we do that every single day in Osseo area schools. We have a vested interest in this. About 50% of the students who attend Osseo area schools are Caucasian students, and 50% are students of color. And this is over 20,000 students. So every day that you visit our schools, you see this firsthand. And we believe it adds to the richness of education for young people. And we also would like to help their parents and family members explore these issues as well.
Inevitably, when you have a changing community, there are some misunderstandings or problems that pop up, misconceptions. What kinds of things has the community been able to overcome? What are you proud of?
Sure. I would say the number one thing we're proud of, and where I believe most misconceptions come from, is that we tend to isolate ourselves. We tend to not interact with each other based on race. And so what we believe these forums do is create a great place for people to stay engaged, to be actively involved with their fellow people from their community who they may not sit down at a table literally with on a daily basis. So we're going to create that, and we believe that has continued to advance dialogue and experience for people in the community.
Get people talking.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is the first time you may do it again.
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
The forum called It's Time to Talk About Race will be held Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. at the Brooklyn Park Community Activity Center. Students from Osseo area schools will also perform Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Well, advocates hope remembering Martin Luther King Jr. inspires people to give back to their community this weekend.
It's National Day of Service on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, and all weekend ends up being a weekend of service. So we have volunteers. We're expecting volunteers Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Lots of volunteers.
Arks Value Village needs volunteers to sort clothes and stock the sales floor over the weekend at its 4 locations. The volunteer work will prepare the store for the expected rush of shoppers on MLK Day. You can sign up for a 3-hour shift online or just show up. Also, you can pack food at Second Harvest Heartland on Monday the 20th and sign up for one of many shifts on the Second Harvest website. Well, coming up, a perfect opportunity to take the family out to a musical.
It is a popular children's book that comes to life on stage. And then a little bit later in sports, Wayzata's talented gymnastics team shoots for a win against a rival.
But first, a weekend warm-up, but it won't last. It turns cold again next week.
A popular children's book is now playing out on the big stage.
The Mitten premieres tonight at Stages Theater Company in Hopkins and runs through mid-February. Reporter Cassie Bonstrom has more in today's Weekend Showcase.
Preparing for a musical, even when it's a 45-minute long, kid-friendly one, takes time. These 18 girls have to transform themselves from regular teenagers into elaborate characters like snow fairies and woodsy critters.
Well, I think kids will enjoy it especially because of all the animals.
When the hair, makeup, and costumes are done, they'll take the stage for the theater company's first show of 2014 called The Mitten. The story is about a little girl, Nikki, who loses her white mitten in the winter snow. Owls, rabbits, and mice take refuge in the mitten, thinking it's a house.
It is a pretty well-known story in that a lot of families read it, a lot of school teachers read it, But what we decided to do with the piece was to make it a ballet-inspired musical.
Sandy Bourne-Barrett is the show's artistic director. She teamed up with Escalate, a dance studio in Maple Grove, to help with choreography and take the show to the next level. She says the music and dance will appeal to all ages.
And it's a beautiful piece of theater. It's a beautiful way to tell a story. It's for all audiences. There is something for everyone.
Zoe Tamarkin of Maple Grove plays a snow fairy. She and her castmates have put hundreds of hours of rehearsal into making the story believable.
We're on stage practically the whole time, so we have to make sure we're in character all the time.
But she says the audience won't just see a story, they'll also watch an important lesson unfold.
You don't really know a person until you start talking to them. When Mouse and Bear come on stage, there's really like daunting music going on, like something scary is gonna happen, but then they come on stage and they're just these nice little characters. So I think that relates a lot to how people are nowadays, how people always judge like a book by its cover.
In Hopkins, Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
If you're interested in attending the Mitten, the show runs through February 17th. Tickets are $15, and we'll have more information on our website at 12.tv. Well, coming up, a local matchmaker works her magic with the stars at the Golden Globes.
But first, a young Osseo girls basketball team is in the hunt for conference honors. John Jacobson has more on the Orioles up next.
John Jacobson now with sports, and I think this is an amazing sport. I just watch and say, how do they do it? I mean, with gymnastics, these girls are amazing.
They are good, and Wayzata's girls especially this year, a very solid team. Wayzata's gymnastics team finished 5th in the state in Class AA last season. The Trojans may be even better this season. They faced Hopkins in a late conference meet on Thursday, and this is senior Brenna Rug. Her vault here lands her a score of 9.4, best in the meet. Wayzata was solid in most of their routines, and Hannah Roth enjoyed a great night. She scores a 9.5 on the floor exercise on her way to an all-around score of 37.675. Wayzata wins 144.25 to 123.1. We'll have more on the Trojans on our Sports Jam show next week here on Channel 12. 5 years ago, undefeated Hopkins and Cooper met in one of the most hyped regular season boys basketball games ever in the area. The Thursday night matchup at Cooper was a little more low-key. Hopkins, Amir Coffey spins and gets the roll here for Hopkins. The Royals start on a 14-0 run. Cooper sophomore Teron Pickford runs the break. It's the basket and the foul for the Hawks. Late in the first half, a block by John Warren triggers the Hopkins fast break. Fonbele to Coffey for the jam. And the Royals lead 46-23 at halftime. And they start the second half strong. Jake Wright's three-pointer makes it 56-23. Coffey runs the break, delivering a nice pass to Stefan Sharp for two more. Hopkins rolls over Cooper 84-48 is the final. In boys hockey, the Benilde St. Margaret's boys are ranked 9th in the state in Class AA. Thursday night, the Red Knights hosted Blake, the 15th ranked team in Class A. Turnover costs Benilde. Nick Hughes sets up Charlie Hartwell for the shot and goal. Blake grabs a 1-0 lead just over a minute in. The Red Knights, though, tied up. The shot from the point on net. They get a couple of tries, and Mark Kasky cleans it up with the rebound goal. And it's 1-1 in a wild first period. Ben Newhouse springs speedster Spencer Nas with a perfect pass. And Nas tallies on the breakaway to make it 3-2 Red Knights. Still in the first, Nas slides the pass to Jack Lawton. He fights off the check and scores. Benilde leads a high-scoring game 4-2 after one period. Second period, Nick Austin's point shot is wide, but caroms right to Evan Fleming for the easy goal. Benilde wins. They hit double digits, 10-4 the final. Near the midway point of the Northwest Suburban Conference girls basketball season, defending league co-champion Osseo is in the thick of the race. The Orioles enter Friday's game against Anoka with a 6-2 mark in conference play, which puts them third behind Centennial and Park Center. They're 8-4 overall. Osseo's two conference losses came to the teams ahead of them, including a 1-point defeat at Centennial. It was expected to be a rebuilding year for the Orioles by many, but they've made some strides this season.
I've learned that we are still very young, but we're pushing through. we're getting better every day, and in practice we're really improving.
We've got some real quality players on the team, and the kids are really willing to work hard. We like our upside. I think we've gotten better in a lot of games. We've lost some close games, but I think that's going to help us coming down the stretch.
Friday's opponent, Anoka, is one game behind the Orioles in 4th place, so they know they'll have their hands full with the Tornadoes.
They're a strong team. They're a big team. They can play, they run, and we're just going to have to come out hard. Like, every game this year isn't easy for us.
They play a very tough 2-3 zone. They're long. They can shoot the ball on the offensive end. We are going to have to take care of the basketball. We are going to have to really work hard on the defensive end.
After the Anoka game, the Orioles were at home Saturday afternoon against St. Paul Central. It's the kind of rivalry match that overshadows all else on their schedules. The Cooper and Armstrong wrestling teams meet up Friday night in the Robbinsdale Rumble. This is video of the Hawks and the Falcons in action against other opponents at Hopkins last week. Armstrong won a close one last season to take a 4-3 edge in the series since it's been dubbed the Robbinsdale Rumble and held at Robbinsdale Middle School. Our 12 Sports crew will be on hand for the Rumble. Watch it live Friday night on the web at 7 p.m. or catch the replays here on Channel 12 Saturday night at 7 and 10 o'clock and Sunday afternoon at 4. Always fun when those teams get together.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, a professional matchmaker takes her skills to Hollywood.
We will catch up with the Love Architect when we come back. All eyes are on Hollywood now for award season.
And the Golden Globes started it all, of course, last Sunday night, and a local company was in on the action.
We sent our book in and entered it to hopefully be accepted as a gift to the nominees of the Golden Globes. And when we found out it had indeed been accepted and that we were invited, it was just an amazing honor and an amazing experience.
That's love architect Kailen Rosenberg of Wayzata. She gave away her book and a 1-hour love design session to stars of television and film in a Golden Globe swag bag. Rosenberg is more than a matchmaker. She helps people find themselves and then find their soulmate. She writes about it all in her book, and her PR firm, CEL of Plymouth, helped Rosenberg get a chance to talk to the stars about how they can find love.
Aside from being with the nominees, you know, truly within inches and hugging and talking and sharing, I was really just so honored and impressed to see how much they opened up with me, how comfortable they felt, and how real they really are when it comes to the truth of love in their lives and what they really want for themselves that they're not always getting.
And Rosenberg has plans to return to LA in time for the Oscars. She's getting some buzz. She's already done a series with Oprah Winfrey and been on the Today Show. So good luck to her. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner coming up next. Have a great weekend, everyone.